So we're here tonight to interview Reggie Cooper, one of my favorite people in the world. We've known each other, what, 6-7 years now?
Close to it,
Yeah. Reggie took one of my classes at community college and then just took off with it and called me one day, not too long. I mean, it was probably within a year after you took the class.
yeah. Talked about the 19.
Yes, and got my first deal. You won't believe this, 19 properties. Wow. So let me ask you, what made you want to become an investor?
I really thought about leaving something, creating a legacy for myself, for my kids. Thought about no one left anything for me.
Yeah.
So I'm a first generation. I had to be the one to open the door to get it started. So that's what I was thinking. I was thinking more for a generational thing, like the future, like my future seeds, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
it wasn't like for me right now, you know, because I live very minimal. Like I can live off 3 houses and be good, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But so it was more about me wanting to
Leave a legacy.
leave a legacy. Those was about
And how did you come upon the 19 properties?
keeping my ears glued to the street. So the 19 wasn't actually the first deal I did. So that's, you know, after I did my first deal, that's what gave me motivated to go after the 19. So quick story.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember Or in Israel. Remember?
Yeah.
I had met
Sure
him. See,
do.
it's a small world. Because remember, I met him without you even knowing that you knew him.
Yeah.
I met him through Connected Investors.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I didn't know if he was real or not. And he was talking about he buy a lot of houses and whatnot. And I was just so amped about just trying to do something with anybody. Like, I'm like, just give me a chance to let me just do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So he told me, he gave me all the stuff that he was looking for as far as the houses that he wanted to buy and the price range and specs. And I just went out and found what he was looking for. So I found a lady in Florissant that wanted to sell her house. Was able to get it under contract, secure the contract, and or you know, he told me he'll buy it. He actually jibbed me though. Now when I think about it, now,
Well,
because that
talking about
probably
the same person.
that property in Florissant could have probably pocketed at least $20,000. I mean, I got it under contract for $33,000, a 3-2.
Wow.
The basement was finished.
Wow.
So you know what that, I know now what I'm sitting on, but he knew I was new. He's like, he gave me like $4,500 for an assignment fee. I think he turned around and maybe sold it for like $160, you know what I'm saying? So he came out like a fat rat on his end, but hey, I was still learning. It is what it is. Pay for what you don't know.
Right.
So
College education.
but after I did, so I was just telling you, my son, he went to the thing with me. So I was up like at 1 a.m. The infomercial came on TV about wholesaling.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, have you tried every job out there? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? If you're done like trying all these things, have you tried wholesaling? I'm thinking like, no, but I have tried everything else. You
Right.
know I'm saying this to myself. I was a bus driver. I worked all the call center jobs. I did everything, all fast food jobs. I was like, some got to give. So I went to the little 3-day workshop over in O'Fallon, Illinois. Me and him went together. The speaker was amazing. I mean, of course, that's his job to make you want to sign up.
Right.
So he was like, yeah, he showed us how before he got off into real estate and wholesaling, how he was going bankrupt. And he had, you know, how it just changed his life. And I was like, I told Dante, sir, I was like, I don't know. I heard a lot of stuff before, but this seemed kind of real.
I basically was like, I think it is real. I don't think he's giving all the secrets,
Right.
but it's worth a shot.
Right.
So
So course, they wanted to get to the next workshop, they wanted like $3,000.
Pay $2,000.
Yeah. So, right, so they wanted like $5,000, okay?
Mhm.
They was trying to set us up to pay $30,000.
Yeah.
That's what they were setting it up for.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford that. I didn't have that money, but
Lucky you.
It was like at least 8 people that signed up.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they got like 8 people that paid 30 grand.
Because I remember looking at them at the shop and I'm just like, man, they walking up there just dropping $30,000. Like,
So I came to him,
Insane.
I said, look, I said, I know that you get people all the time. They say that they want to do this. I said, but I really want to do it. I just can't afford to do it. He said, well, we got another package that you might be interested in.
yeah.
So he started trying to see what I can afford. Can you afford 20,000? No. What about 10,000? Nope. You know, he just kept going down. And then he finally was like, well, we got something that we can do for you where we'll send you the information, but we won't hold your hand. You got to teach yourself everything. And that was like $5,000. So it was like 5,000. I was like, fine, at least I'll get the information. Man, we signed up for that stuff. And my son tell you, at the time, he reneged on me. He didn't really want to do it no more. He was like, Dad, you know, I'm 24 and I got he said, he was like, Dad, I'm 24 and I got plans. And you know, I'm going back to school and I don't want to do this. And I'm thinking like, pay $5,000 all this stuff. This stuff, and I'm not like I'm not real good with standardized testing, and I'm like, you show me, and I'm gonna do exactly what you do. Don't give me a Bible to tell me to read it and then teach myself. That's not
Right.
me. So that's what I had, and all I know is I dropped to my knees, crying to God like, I got all this stuff for my $5,000. So, make a long story short, I really, that's when I know, you know, I'm talking about religion, but I developed a closer relationship to God. I really started talking to God a lot. I started doing things like getting up in the morning. I was looking at inspirational videos on YouTube, like Les Brown and, you know, and just different pastors. I was writing myself little notes because they was like, speak it into existence and write what you want to make. You know, I started writing, I will make $50,000 in 6 months. You know, I was starting to believe this stuff.
You had the stuff on the wall. Right?
Yeah, I had notes on the wall. You remember?
Vision boards, basically, yeah.
I had notes on the wall. I was like really trying to buy into this. I was trying to think outside the box. I'd never done that before though. So it's hard when you
Don't have a
little
blueprint, yeah.
kid, you know, in little neighborhoods that you don't got a lot of resources, a lot of money. It's hard to think way bigger than where you really are. So, but I was like, some got to give. So the stuff I bought, it didn't help me. So that $5,000 did not help at all. I started YouTubing and I started Googling like real estate, local groups, real estate clubs. And then that's how I started to learn. I started being around people smarter than me.
Right.
That's already in the business.
That's why I tell everybody, go to as many meetings as you possibly can, listen to what they have to say, but don't buy anything. Don't buy anything unless you meet somebody that's used it and they've been successful. Don't buy it.
You'd be surprised when you start rubbing elbows with other people that's successful in the business that you want to get into. It start rubbing off on you.
Yep.
Like little things start happening. You start retaining little things. You start going out doing things that you didn't think you were going to do. And before you know it, that door will crack for you. Something is going to happen. So when I did the first deal with even though it's $4,500, I nearly got back all my money.
Right.
So that was confident. It gave me the confidence, like, you can do this. You can tell me that I wasn't an investor after I made $5,000. I was like, okay, I got a house on the contract, like they advertise on TV. I didn't use no money, no credit, like they advertise on TV. And I walked away with some money, like they advertise on TV. So I did what I seen on TV, I did it. And after that, I was like, okay, I was in the barbershop one day and the owner, he owned a lot of houses. And he was like, man, I'm ready to get rid of all these houses. Bing, 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 bing.
Right.
I was like, hey, you know, I'm an investor. Keep in mind, I ain't did that. I'm talking to him like I'm a seasoned investor. I'm like, hey, I'm an
Fake it
investor.
till you make it.
Say, hey, I'm an investor, you know, I can sell those houses for you. He looked at me like, yeah, okay. So this way he didn't take me serious at all. So what he said was, I tell you what, if you get a serious buyer to the table, I'll give you the contract. That's all I need. So he told me to find a buyer and he'll give me the contract. So I went and found a buyer and he gave me a contract. And
You bought those, didn't you? 19?
I did, but I never wanted the houses.
Ah,
Remember the
right.
lady, Ann?
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, so she was a good friend at the time. She was just like you to me, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I met her doing one of the real estate meetings, and she was just like, I thought she was just a real nice lady, just trying to teach me the business. I was getting a little stuff. Me and my son, other son, went out to her house. She gave us little stuff to take home to
I remember
read.
talking to her because she was telling us not to do business with one particular guy.
Yeah, she's telling us business. She's telling us don't do business with somebody. But let me get back to it. So what happened was when I got the contract, me and her was supposed to split like $100,000 wholesale fee off of selling the 19 property.
Mhm.
Then we was trying to sell it for like $500,000. We was gonna split like 100,000. I was gonna get 50,000. She was gonna get 50,000, and that was it. I was gonna be happy because that's what I've been writing down. God, I want the $50,000.
Right.
So what happened was when I introduced this lady to the owner, that's why I always tell new investors, you always want to make sure that before you open that door up and lay all your cards down, that you got that relationship or that agreement already in black and white with
Right.
that other party.
Yeah.
I have a relationship with Jill, so me and her want to just talk about something. We could possibly do that, but still, business, business.
Mhm.
So you want to make sure that that is in black and white. Because what happened was me and her had a verbal agreement,
Right.
but whenever I introduced her, brought her to the table with the owner, tried to close me on my own deal. She stopped answering my calls. She didn't let me know what was going on behind closed doors. She started having secret meetings with other investors. I wasn't even included. And if it wasn't for the owner didn't like how they were treating me. Because they had stopped communicating with me
Right.
and they had shut me completely out. And so he was like, I think it's kind of messed up how they trying to do you. And then they wouldn't even be at the table if it wasn't for you, because I gave the contract to you. So he told me that if I can secure the number he was looking for, he'll sell me the properties for $50,000 less.
There's your 50,000.
Wow.
He told me he would sell me the properties if I wanted them for $50,000, which made me the best buyer for the package to secure a hard money lender, because everybody else is gonna have to pay $50,000 more.
Right.
So I had the best offer on the table. And that's the reason, that's how I wound up securing houses, because no one could buy them cheaper than me.
And how did you secure finance? You don't have to go into all details, but I think that's a really good lesson that you learned that you wouldn't know. I mean, you wouldn't know unless you went through it.
1 second. Bro, I got the money for you, but I'm in a meeting. I'll call you right back.
Look at you doing deals right here in the meeting.
All right. So hard money lenders, they teach you in real estate when you first learning, especially when you don't have no money. When I first started, I think I created the Jason mask because my credit was bad. It's like 5 something. I didn't have a 600 credit score. I didn't have much of a savings, because you got 4 kids. You can't save that much at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't have much of a savings. Credit wasn't good. And But when you learning to wholesaling is the best way to get in as an investor, a new investor. Because you don't have no credit, you don't have no money. All you're trying to do is secure a property for somebody who got the money.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so going to a few of these the real estate meetings, I was meeting different people. So I had met, hard money lenders. I had met a few people. So I had met a guy from one of the meetings that was a hard money lender. So of course he was trying to go around me too. He was trying to see how he could secure the houses without me. They all were, like, I'm seriously, they all was trying to see how they can just cut me out. Then they came in after they realized they couldn't cut me out, they tried to come and offer me bogus deal. They was like, hey, well, we worked out a deal where you can keep 2 of the houses. Out of 19, I can get to keep 2. 2 of the worst ones too.
Of course.
So I was like, 2, why would I'm gonna take 2 of the houses? And it's my deal. Like, well, I'm gonna take 2 houses. Well, you take 2 houses.
You take those 2 houses.
So, make a long story short, everything happens for a reason. It was grace of God, he wanted me to have these houses. He gave somebody that didn't really want to give me the money to buy the house. He really didn't want me to keep the house. He tried his best. Even the hard money lender, when I was in his deal, tried to take the houses from him, but he couldn't because it was protected by God. And I found my way out of his deal to really secure the houses for my legacy, so I can do what me and my son are doing right now, so.
And one of the things that we were talking about after you got that all secured was you were going to try and refinance them, but you found out that you couldn't for a year.
2 years.
2 years.
My back was against the wall, 2 years, having to pay a loan of almost $7,000 a month.
Wow.
So I had to pay like $7,000 a month. And then you would think that's the worst case scenario. No, COVID happened.
Right.
And I had all market tenants.
Right.
I had all market tenants, no Section 8s. So when you tell people in low income neighborhoods that they don't have to pay rent no more, you think they're gonna still pay the landlord? So you're talking about over half of the portfolio just stopped paying. And they sat on me for like over a year. It pretty much destroyed me.
Wow.
And I'm just now, since COVID, 2019, I think I have one more property to fix right now.
Yes.
I'm just now recovering from fixing all this stuff back over and all of this since what happened with COVID.
And that really proves the point that it's not the person with the most money or the most knowledge, it's the person that doesn't quit that
Yes.
wins
Exactly.
every time.
I've been able to do some amazing things with not a big budget at all. I mean, a very small budget. And I've been able to keep these houses fixed, keep them occupied with tenants. And, the real estate business is self-maintaining itself now. So, we don't expand it. Started a couple of Airbnbs out of some of the houses. I switched most of them over to Section A, kind of like waiting on COVID 2.0 to come back around.
Right, you just
Like,
don't know.
if it happened again, you're going to keep paying me.
Yeah. Well, and you could have one house that you rented by the bedroom,
Still got
right?
the house.
Four bedrooms,
Mhm.
4 different tenants. When you said that to me, I'm like, brilliant.
Yes.
That was so smart.
Just because in neighborhoods, for like seniors, a lot of them, they don't prefer to be in a senior living facility.
Right,
They don't want to. They don't fix income, so they can't afford to really live by themselves either.
right.
So if you can find, it's not easy putting people together.
No,
So you do have to have a
there
little
is
niche.
that.
You gotta have a little niche for putting people together. But if you
Right.
can find a few people that ideally they work together, you can make a great amount. You can make a lot of money. You can get the same amount for rent and doing it that way than you get for house out in this area. Because imagine if you got a 3-bedroom house in Jenny's and you're getting like $600 per room. That's $1,800 a month. What, don't houses in Chesterfield rent about $1,800?
Yeah, exactly.
But you get $1,800 in Jennings. So, or North Side with that concept. So,
And that brings up the point too of you were talking about, it doesn't matter where you buy, you can make money if you if you make the deal right. I mean,
If you make the
the numbers have to work. It
Me and my
doesn't
son,
matter.
We love monopoly. We talk about this all the time. I mean, those brown properties is right by Go.
Right,
People, we don't skip over those properties.
right.
Like, we don't do it in the game, and we almost don't do it in life, because now I see where you can start with those properties, but eventually those properties will lead you to the light blue, and you keep buying the light blue, they'll lead you to the orange.
And that's exactly what good teachers teach. It's like, don't start out with the big ones necessarily. You don't have to start there. Work your way up. Gosh, probably 5 years ago, had to be at least that long because prices have gone up. I started a project with a couple of investors where we would buy $35,000 properties over by Beeville Mills.
Right.
And put maybe another 25 into them and then sell them for 80,000, and you made 5 or 10,000, but again and again and again, I showed them, okay, in 3 years, you'll have $300,000.
Mhm.
What else can you do that you'll have $300,000 in 3 years?
Well, we're working on something right now, because we don't care about sharing this knowledge, and we share a lot of knowledge with me, but if you can buy those properties like you're talking about, and let's say you put a little money into them, you fix them up, you put a Section 8 tenant inside the property, right? And let's say you package like 5 of those together, you sell it as a bulk deal, they're gonna have to give you more money, because those are called turnkey properties. 'Cause
Right,
you get a return on your investment as soon as you start buying them, because they already have a tenant inside of them. So they can't really lowball you, because it's creating a profit already. So that's what we're trying to do right now with the 19 that we're getting ready to try to sell. Like 10 of them are going to be turnkey.
that's really smart. So you didn't start with Section 8.
I
A
did.
lot of people are afraid of Section 8.
They are.
But COVID kind of said, guess what? It's something you need to pay
But
attention to.
I've had a few people. I had this one white guy. He told me one time. He said, "Hey, Section 8 is a really good route to go down. I've been in the business for 35 years, and you can build quite a Section 8 empire," what he call it. And at first I didn't do it, because I thought that the process of getting your home approved on Section 8 was a lot. They make you do a lot. But when I started going to some people's houses that was already eligible for Section 8, I realized like houses I'm putting together is better than these houses. So, so I started seeing what the process was, and it's not as hard. Yeah, they make you do that little annual checkup. But if the person turn your house up, then you kick them out. Kick them out. You put somebody else in there that's going to be there and know how to take care of it a little bit. So there is a filtering system, and that's where my son comes in, because he worked years in the hotel business, so he really good with filtering out people.
Yeah, that's really good. And you're right. You have to have a system. You have to have it down to a system, because then you know what to expect, you know what you need to do, you know where, you've got all your boxes checked. It's much easier to make a checklist. Love checklists, because then I know I don't forget anything, but yeah.
And plus too, like, you can go buy a house in Florissant or Maryland Heights. You're gonna spend this much for it. But I like that $30,000, like you said, 35, because you can have that house paid off in like 5 years or less.
Mhm.
That house has no note on it. And now it's just making all profit. How long is it gonna take you to pay off that house in Maryland Heights though?
Right, to
Before
be pure
before
profit.
you can start getting your return on your investment on that house.
Right, and you made the argument, because a lot of people say, well, I buy the higher end house because I can get the higher rent. Well, you're talking about making $1,800 in Jennings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We kind of figured out the Section 8 system too, certain amount of rooms.
So tell you how that $5,000 house was getting $875, and then I said, because the house is so nice, we didn't want a Section 8. We was
so
gonna.
repeat that. You bought a house for $5,000.
I bought a house for $5,000.
Uh-huh. And you put how much into it?
About $3,000. And then I was getting $875 for it,
On an $8,000 house.
an $8,000 house, and then the last tenant when I kicked her out, when I kicked her out, I basically, I said to my son, I said, I think about Airbnb this house, but he was like, Dad, I wouldn't do this house because of this area. Because, you know, it's real bad over there in that little baby circle part.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I said, yeah, you're right. I said, well, we need to figure out how can we get more money out of this house. And I said, bing, bing, let's add another bedroom. They got it, so they pay more money per the bedroom with Section 9. So
Yeah, they do.
a lot of them houses in the city, they have that living room, dining room. You don't need that dining room.
Right.
You can convert that dining room to a bedroom and just have a living room. And they pay you more that way.
Mm-hmm. That's smart, how to capitalize on them. So now that you've got this package getting ready to put on the market to sell as a package, what do you plan to do? You're upgrading now, right?
Yeah, so we're kind of like unloading some of the ones that, you know, we don't really want to deal with anymore. I mean, it's not that it ain't a cash flowing money. It's just that we're looking to kind of maybe get off into a strip mall or something like that.
Yeah, less maintenance. Yeah, that's kind of what people want to do. They want that's kind of the goal, is to get to the point where it's the least amount of work for the most amount of gain.
I say anybody that want to get into this business, if you aren't thinking like, I'm gonna live in this house forever. You gotta have an investor mindset. You can easily buy one of these little houses, $15,000, $20,000, put a little money into them, fix them up. And you do like 2 of those houses like that, that can pretty much set you up to live wherever you want to live in St. Louis. You know, you're getting $1,000 off 3 properties, that's $3,000 a month. You can't tell me you can't live in Maryland Heights or Chesterfield for $3,000 a month. You can, you know,
Right.
and it's off your properties in the war zone neighborhoods.
Right. Right.
So
And yeah, St. Louis, as I was saying before, has a really funny stigma about, you know, what high school you went to. And they perceive what they thought when they were back in high school. And you got to say, how long ago was it that you were in high school, first of all? And second, people live there. I mean, obviously they went to high school there. People live there. It's the market. Everything's changing all of the time. And some of those areas like Cass and Jefferson, nobody would think that area was good at any point in time for a very long time. But now the biggest government project is being built right there. And already the prices of those houses are over 100,000.
I got 8 of them down there.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Can I ask how many properties you have right now?
We manage like 23. We got 2 Airbnbs. There's 1 commercial building. So all together, underneath Caterpillar name, about 27.
How'd you come up with the Caterpillar name? I saw that on your. So
So
what's the
I
story?
came up with Caterpillar,
Uh-huh.
and he was like, I don't know, Dad, we need to add that capital. I don't know why I changed my voice when I say things. Because he talks really proper like that, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, I don't know. I like capital. I was like, but I was thinking about how long the name is going to be. He was like, no, I like capital. And he was like, I said, I'm fine. We named it Caterpillar Capital or Real Estate Investors, LLC.
Right.
The name is so.
You hate that when you're coming to closing.
And I was so mad at him the first time because he added that long name and then he told me he didn't want to do this no more.
I was 24.
Right?
He goes, he's
24.
Nobody's in the right brain at 24.
You know, I didn't really find my way. And this was a lot. And then you talking about 19 properties. We got to find these investors. It was a lot. I got overloaded. So, and I
I
was
think he got overloaded. I jumped into the healthcare insurance at the same time.
I know.
I started the Caterpillar real estate in August, and I started the health insurance in October. So I was learning 2 new industries at the
Huge
same,
industries.
huge huge industry. Both of them got so many different legs you can go down. And I was learning both at the same time. That's why I dropped to my knees like, okay, you always say, God, you're gonna give us more than we can handle. But I think you kind of made mistakes, right?
Right, that's what I always say. If God only gives you what you can handle, he's got a much higher impression of me than I do.
Right. Because I'm like, to know all the stuff about these people, Medicare, of course, know about these houses, same time. So what happened was I couldn't do both of them in the same day. When I first started, I had to give myself a schedule. I was like, okay, Mondays is real estate day. Tuesdays is insurance day. You know what I'm saying? So I had to give myself a schedule till I learned both and I can do both in the day. And it was just so tough. So the insurance, I started learning how to make money in insurance first because of course, you know, it's not as high numbers like real estate.
Right,
I can,
and it's not as iffy.
it's not as
just-
iffy,
yeah.
it's pretty much straightforward and direct.
Mhm.
So, you know, the insurance is more like my 9-to-5 job while I was trying to learn how to be an investor.
Mhm.
So the insurance was my backup, but.
You got a few properties through insurance too,
I
didn't you?
did. The $5,000 house came through an insurance appointment.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, that came through an insurance appointment. I bought a 2-family flat. And then I bought the house I live in right now from insurance. Bought like 3 houses from insurance.
And see, it go back to rubber elbows.
Yep,
Because you would never met those people had you not been with insurance, just like the investors.
yeah, and the thing about that, you being the insurance agent, they liked and trust you.
They do.
And so people do business with people they like and trust. It always goes back to that. Always goes back to that. And it, you know, some of the people that you've mentioned in this that have done you wrong and do other people wrong. That people stop doing business with them.
Well,
So-
what I've been teaching, I'll tell you, is any of these industries that you get into, it's gonna be some shadiness. Because the real estate, you got a lot of shady people in the real estate business. You know, take your deal, right? They'll smile on your face and be trying to take your deal at the same time. But the insurance kind of grimy like that as well. You know, we have set up people and they're your clients. So
Wow.
you just got to be on top of your stuff, no matter what you're doing. You just got to be on top of everything.
Right.
So you had a huge change in the market with COVID. I mean,
Yes.
huge change, and that made you switch your position over to Section 8.
Mhm.
Was there something else that you learned from that? I mean, there's so much that we learned in COVID.
I learned that I really need to get tougher on my screening process. It's because at first I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, you got a baby. You said you're gonna be good with paying your rent. Okay, I'm gonna be your son.
You're too nice.
You know,
I
I was trying to get a chance.
I know.
But then what changed it for me is when I had a super saved church lady that got me for like 5 months rent. She was like, I'm talking about super saved church woman. Okay. And she was talking so sweet at first, like, yeah, my grandson died and I had to pay for the funeral arrangements, blah, 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 blah. So I gave her a month free, gave her 2 months. So come that 3rd month, I'm like, okay. She was like, well, you know, you can't put me out till the sheriff comes. I was like,
Wow. Yeah.
So because I didn't follow her right away, she wound up getting 5 months off on me. Because the 2 months I was just trying to be nice. Now I teach him, it's business. You know, I can't go to Walmart and you're just gonna be nice and give me all my groceries, right?
Right. Yeah, it is business, and you really have to be careful.
Well,
Buying or selling, don't emotions out.
with my years of hotel experience, I kind of see how people can be grimy, like just switch up on you and change who they are. Because when I first started out, I was a security officer and I worked for a hotel. So I dealt with evicting people who had, seeing them, dealing with employees, dealing with guests all at the same time. And, you know, people can definitely smile in your face and do the opposite. So you just got to kind of read them. You ask them certain questions and see how they trip up. And I mean, it's pretty much the same way. Once I started working with my dad, it's the same way with the people that be scraping properties. Like I can ask you certain questions and see how you respond to it, because I've already saw your application. I
Right.
already know what you told on the application. So if you're not being honest about how much money you bring in, if you're not being honest, if you look at your family or whatever, then I know that you probably won't be a good tenant because you're already being dishonest with me right now.
Right.
Exactly.
So
And you aren't even in and under stress.
And you gotta understand that any good tenant at any point can become a bad tenant. Just because they're good for the last year, don't mean they can't turn into a bad tenant. They can, because I have had those, they were good, paying their rent, and all of a sudden they decide, I've been living over here for 5 years, I think it's time me stop paying my landlord so I can save up for my new place. That's what they do. Most of them before they always stop paying the last landlord to have money for the new landlord. That's what they all do. They feel that the security deposit that they know they're not gonna get back anyway, because they messed the house up.
Yeah,
You just take that. Well, I was gonna take that anyway, because you tore my house up, but
but it's not payment for
it's
the
not
monthly rent.
payment for your rent. That's what the lady, the judge just told the lady that. She's like, what about my security deposit? She said, ma'am, we're here for non-payment of rent. Did you pay rent this month? She was like, no. Security deposit don't have anything to do with your rent, honey. Can't tell her that. I'm looking at her like, I told you that. You didn't want to listen to me though. The judge tell you that, now you want to look crazy.
Right, now she'll believe it. Oh, geez. So what do you think about the current state of the market now? Because it's kind of a crazy market, but what are you seeing on your side? I mean, on
Well,
our side, it's
Right. Well, what I've seen, I don't know what it's looking like exactly right now as per se, but it looked like it was good for the sellers. The property values went up. And I know what I had bought the 19 for, and when I did get them reappraised, half of the properties appraised for what the whole 19 was bought for.
wow.
Yeah. When I
Now
first bought the
appraisal isn't
19,
market,
yeah,
but
right. First bought the 19, you looking at, we was trying to write under $500,000, but I just had 10 properties appraised, and they appraised for like $500,000 for just like 10 of them. So over $1 million portfolio right now.
you're a millionaire.
Everybody
On
keeps saying
paper.
that.
But you got to get it in your brain. I told my husband that the other day. I'm like, we're millionaires. He's like,
Yeah, you are.
don't count on it, honey. And I'm like, on paper.
Tell me that all the time because of the properties and because of the network. But I want $1 million in my bank.
Well, that's next. That's next. But if you
got it on.
you do. Yeah. And so my point really was, as much as that $50,000 expanded your brain, the $1 million should expand your brain.
Oh, yeah.
You've got it. Yeah, you've got it. And I don't even know why I'm telling you this, because you're the last person I worry about being motivated or being clever with your stuff, because you really are good. But I want you to get that. You're a millionaire.
Well, I have learned how to position my credit to work for me. Because over the years, I did take that 5-something credit score. I mean, it did hit up to an 800. It's kind of down in the 7-something now, but because things don't hit. But, and if you got good credit and you have assets, you can do anything with assets and good credit. I mean, you can live a life like a millionaire with those two components together, because if I needed to get some money, just go line of credit against one of my houses. You know what I mean? And I do have some money. I try not to do that.
Right. That way you stay a millionaire.
Right.
So that's the mindset.
Yes.
I went to
that's
the
the
bank to
investor
see if I
mindset.
can get the money, and they approved it right on the spot. I just wanted to see if I could get it.
Yeah.
I didn't take it, but I was like, oh, okay, I can get this money.
But that's smart not to, and to leverage what you have
Mhm.
to then sell that to move up to whatever it is.
That's what we're
Then.
trying to do now. So we're gonna sell this package, and it should pay the loan completely off. So all the properties that be left will be free and clear. to still have money left over to start back reinvesting. And then we just build it all over again. I even bought a house out of my self-directed IRA. I don't know if you remember.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
I was telling my son he needed to get his stuff switched over. So everything that I had learned in real estate, I have applied in real life. People's talking to me about self-directed IRAs. I said, okay, I'm gonna start one.
Right.
I went and got equity trust, and I started the self-directed IRA and bought a property out of my self-directed IRA. I was like, oh, okay, that's how you do that. You know, people talking about wholesaling, I did it. People talking to me about buying package deal, I did it. So I feel really good with the knowledge that I have learned in this business that I was able to at least pass it down. Now I think that he's starting to learn everything where one day he'll be able to pass it down, because that's what it's about. It's about taking that knowledge and wisdom and giving it to somebody else.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a little older now, so I'm way more serious.
You're not 24 still?
Not 24. But I mean, yeah, he has taught me about both on the insurance side and the real estate. I mean, shit, there was days where insurance was kicking my ass, and then and then the real estate as of late, been kicking my ass.
Yeah.
It's been a lot. Just dealing with people and talking to people, learning from them. I've learned a lot just with that, past year. So
A lot. And we got a home health care that's gonna start on April the 17th.
Oh, wow. Third business.
That's the third business.
So with your home health care, you can combine the two, put the houses and put your patients in those houses.
It's all part of the plan.
Oh, I mean, I can just see this going.
It's all part of the plan. They all go
Wow.
together. They all go together.
That's
So
brilliant.
while we're out doing insurance, it's the same clients that we could do for home health care. Same clients that I could do for, housing. So yeah, all three just gonna do this. So that's the plan.
That's fantastic. I'm so happy for you. I'm so impressed with you're such a creative thinker and you're not afraid of much.
Well, when you grow up the way I did, there's not a lot to be afraid of. It's not a lot
That's
to be
fair.
afraid of. What I'm afraid of, man, I used to sleep outside. What I'm afraid of.
Right.
Well, I'm clubbing my car, you know what I'm saying? Didn't have nowhere to go at times. That's why all of this is so important for me, because I know where I come from. And even though he didn't have a silver spoon in life, my main goal was to keep him from having to go live in a shelter or sleep in his car like I had to. Some things, and he didn't have to experience that. You know what I'm saying? So try to make sure that, my future grandkids, they can come in the world a little bit different, still want them to still learn these life lessons that teaching him and that I learned. But at the same time, I don't think no kids should have to go through some of the stuff that I felt like I had to go through. It's just, that's a hard life, and not everybody make it out of that life. You get caught up with drugs, you get killed in the streets. Not everybody should have to try to make their way out of that situation like that. So that's what it's about for me. Is just realizing where I come from, but realizing I'm never going back there. So.
Yeah. And you came out with such a giving attitude. I mean, you're just one of the nicest people I know. And I really, that's a lot. That's a lot. Impressive. What do you think what are the most important things that you could tell a new investor?
I would tell a new investor to watch the company that you're around. Okay? Like, everybody in this business gonna talk like they got all the answers, but not everybody have the answers. To try to, before you befriend people, kind of do some investigation first to see what type of character these people are, before you do any business deals with them. Try to get to know them a little bit first, because they might not be somebody you want to do business with.
Right.
And And always keep your ears glued to the street, because you could be walking down the street and run into your life-changing deal. It's really like that. I was getting a haircut.
Right.
I'm not thinking about no houses. I'm just getting a haircut. And I was just listening. And boom, it happened like that. And that's what's just happened with me and him. I was in eviction court. This was like last week. I'm in eviction court. Like I live down there. I was putting somebody out. I live in the place. They know me. So I'm always down there putting somebody out. And this other investor, he from Kansas City, he in eviction court too, putting somebody out. So, he listened to my case. I guess I listened to his case. We walk into the elevator. We don't know each other. And he said one thing. Man, it's messed up how they don't like to give us the money as the landlords. I said, yeah, you're right. It's kind of messed up. And he was like, man, so how many you got? I told him how many I got. I was like, how many you got? He was like, I got 33 of them. I'm trying to get rid of some of mine.
Yeah.
He just told me trying to get rid of his properties. He got 33 properties. That's bigger than 19. You know what I'm saying? So
And he's in Kansas City.
Right, he's in Kansas City. So me and my son went and met with him to kind of make sure he's really legit. He came with his homework. He's legit. He really is about his business.
Showed us his properties, told us what he's been dealing with and everything. So
And he's serious about getting rid of it
he
too.
said it's a headache, so we're gonna get rid of it for him.
So if his properties are in Kansas City or in St.
The
Louis.
ones that we helping him with are in St. Louis, but he got properties in Kansas City, St. Louis, and in Branson.
Branson as well.
He got Branson as well.
He said he worked his way to Detroit.
And he's younger than me.
Wow.
He's 38 years old. Grew up in the projects without nobody, just like I did. So, me and his story, we kind of met. It's like, man, okay, somebody else out there that kind of went through some stuff. And I listened to this story, how he built his stuff up. He kind of went through, buy one house, use the credit, buy another one. And he kept building himself that way.
Okay.
So I'm like, man, it's a million ways to get to the same spot,
But both of you, it's slow and steady.
Yes.
Wins a race.
Exactly. Slow and steady wins the race. It really does. It goes back to, you just have to be tenacious. You just have to not quit and not get in over your head and not buy emotionally and a lot of knots.
This all happened in the same week. So the Kansas City guy told me about the 33 properties. And then a day later, I took my car to the auto body shop. And the guy at the auto body shop, I'm dressed, usually with a tie or something. And he said, what type of business do you do? I said, well, I do insurance, I do real estate. He said, what type of real estate? Told him what I do. He said, hey, well, you think you can find me something? Because I'm looking to buy a new property. I'm looking to invest in real estate as well. An opportunity.
Mhm.
Most conversations start, and what I realized, some of the deals I did it wasn't even done with black and white paper. You can do a deal with just talking directly with somebody and get a deal done. I did a deal where I told somebody about a house. This is a true story. I'm actually living in the house now. I told somebody about the house and told them where they could find the house at, because Ms. Brown she gave me the inside scoop on the house that somebody she knew that was going to be, the house was going to go up for sale for taxes at the courthouse. So I had an inside scoop on the house at the courthouse from her, because she knew the person. I didn't have the money really to buy the house at the time, but I had a friend that wanted to buy the house. So he wound up going to the courthouse. He bought the house. He gave me $2,500 in cash as a finder's fee, just for telling him where this house was going to be at.
The knowledge is power. Knowledge is money.
So, and he made his money. What he did was he kept the house for a year collecting the rents, because the tenants still lived there. So he collected the rents for a year, made all his money back, and he sold it back to me for what he bought it for.
Wow.
And then I made my money off of it. So
That's brilliant.
yeah, so, and when I see like for instance, the guy that did the refinance for the deal that we got going right now. I did a deal with this man to get money for him over like almost $70,000 just because of who I knew. You know, she knew, she did something at the bank. She did a loan with them. And then I got a banker friend that knew the guy personally, the guy that owned the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
He called him at home.
Wow.
But you know, most deals, especially when you're messing with deals that's over like $500,000, they want you to do it in the office. We was just on the phone having a conversation, and he was like, "Sure, yeah, Mike, yeah, sit Reggie down tomorrow. We'll get it knocked out." It was
It's who
done.
you know. Yeah.
That's who you know.
Yeah. And the more you get out there and go to meetings and meet people, the more you're gonna know. And
And the guy Mike was like, "Yeah, now he said you're in the millionaire club because he said the millionaire club deals get done around the coffee table."
yep.
He said deals get done by conversations and you get in the millionaire club. I was like, oh wow, I like this club.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But you worked hard to get there. I remember when you were knocking on doors and pounding the pavement.
That's what I told my son and my other son, like, Gabe.
Mhm.
He's still trying to find his way, but I did have to put a lot of work into this at the beginning. But you know, people now look at it and they think that it's like, oh man, it's easy. Well, it took me 9 months to get my first wholesale deal. How many people you know that's dedicated that's gonna keep on trying for 9 months straight
Right.
to try to get their money back that they spent? No, I mean, somebody would have just gave up, went back to work.
It
9
doesn't
months,
work.
right?
Yeah. It doesn't work for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's almost a year. I'm gonna just go back, clock this 9 to 5. I was just so persistent, like, no, I did everything else. You're gonna give me my money. And I just never stopped. I just kept going. And I heard TDJ say this one time. He said that when you this close to success, sometimes the devil will make you feel like you so far away so you can quit, but you're really this close. And I ain't gonna lie, when I was like this close to giving up, like a week later, that's when the 19 happened. And I was this close. I had spent 8, 9 months trying.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then you know how you heard the saying, like, once you make your first deal, the second one is easy.
Mhm.
It was. After I did that first deal, the second one was really easy. And even though I'm really not wholesaling right now because we're so busy, I feel like I can wholesale anytime I want to because I have the knowledge down.
Right.
I feel like
Turn that back
I feel
on.
I can always turn it on and off when I want to.
That's a good position to be in. A lot of people are afraid to do wholesaling. What if I mess it up? How are you gonna mess it up? You don't own it. Your name's not on it. You're basically passing it on to somebody else. Yeah.
Different.
Well,
Yes, that's kind of how it was for me.
the road to success
That's
is
true.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's very uncomfortable when you're trying to become successful.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. You're trying to become something you're not yet.
Definitely for me, being uncomfortable for a long time, learning from my dad, just shadowing him, trying to retain everything that he's doing, all the people that we seeing, remembering everything, writing notes. Like I was treating it like college. And you know, now I feel a lot more comfortable. I'm a completely different person I was. And you know, you just gotta learn and talk to people. You gotta get out there.
You do have to have people skills.
Yeah.
You have to have people skills, okay? And then my agent manager in the insurance, she just retired today. We just came from her retirement party right before we got here. So she taught me something in the insurance business that I apply to everything. Just help people. Do your best to do a good job and not worry about the money. Because if you just worry about doing what's right, the money comes. And that was the best advice she ever gave me because all I care about is trying to help a situation become better.
Mhm.
No matter what I'm doing, it could be in real estate and insurance. I'm just trying to do my part to do what's right. And everything else take care of itself. I don't worry about no money. I don't stress on no money. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah,
and that's why I think that things will keep happening because of
What
what I
you're
put, I'm
focused.
putting good energy out in the world and it's coming back.
That's what the investor said. He said it's a headache. So I'll try to help.
yeah, no, I agree 100%. And it makes, because you can't make anything happen. And when you try to make it happen, that's when it falls apart because everybody's stressed, everybody feels it. I mean, you can feel the energy in a room or the energy from a person, not even knowing what they're thinking. So if you come with that attitude, I learned that lesson when I first started in real estate. I was holding open houses because, the only way you can get clients, it's one of the few ways that you can get clients. And I was doing everything. I was, all the marketing pieces. I had everything set up, great houses. I did all my homework, everything. I didn't get a single client for a few weeks. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And so my coach was like, okay, well, what are you thinking when you're there? And I'm like, really? Please pick me. Please pick me. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, please, I want something. And he's like, there's where you're going wrong. And every time now, before I go into an open house or go into anything, I say, how can I help you?
Yeah.
And it completely changed. And so the very next open house that I did, that's what I did. And I got $2 million worth of business off of that one open house. One open house. Amazing. And that was the biggest open house success I had, but it was like, I can do this.
He'll tell you, we just seen a lady and she knew with the insurance stuff. And he asked, how many did you do during annual enrollment?
I asked her. She
She
brought.
asked, yeah, she brought up, she embarrassed herself, so. Yeah, she did ask him, she was like, well, I only did 15. She said, how many did you do? And this is my son, he knew just like she is. He's like, well, I did like 50. She said, you did 50.
I mean, I was just gonna say, yeah, I did pretty good, but she brought it up.
Yeah.
Yes.
But since you bring it up, by the way,
So I'm just really blessed and thankful to, I mean, I love life, what I'm doing right now. It feels good to share it with somebody, and I'm just looking forward to all the things that's coming too. What I'm doing now and the things that's on the way.
what is your next? Well, healthcare.
The
Home
healthcare,
healthcare.
that's April 17th. We got vending machines as well. So we do that. We do those government lifeline tablets, the affordable connectivity program. We do tablets and cell phones. Of course, we sell insurance for health insurance, life insurance. We'll be working on the property and casualty license this year because we're in real estate. It makes sense to have homeowners insurance and all the other stuff,
Right.
insurance. So, eventually with the home healthcare, probably by this time next year, we'll probably have an adult daycare with the home healthcare business. So we're just doing as many things we can manage.
I think that's brilliant.
You
And
can
just
manage
spending
all
one.
that.
That's it, managing all that. Yeah, I was doing it by myself before he joined.
Everything that we do though is connecting to, back to the real estate or the insurance. Like, we're not trying to overload ourselves with something new.
Right.
Right.
And everything that we also do is connecting to help people.
Right, so it's like if I'm walking down this road, I don't have to veer off this road. It's on the same road. I'm just trying to give you another product on the same road.
So,
Right.
for investors, whether they want to wholesale or they want to buy properties, they just got to find their avenue, find their entry, and just run with it.
It's a tree with different branches.
Exactly.
Tree.
So-
Exactly.
so-
Same kind of tree, you just
Kind of tree.
different
So
branches.
The company that I feel like Jimmy took my money, they little thing was wholesale. So they say buy, hold. That was their strategy. You want to buy and buy, I guess you buy and you sell it, wholesale it, because you don't
Make
got the money.
Yeah,
So you want to buy, you want to get on the contract, wholesale it, save that money, get on the contract, wholesale it, save that money, get on the contract, wholesale it, save that money. But now you should have enough money because you just do 3 wholesale deals. Now that next property, you want to buy and hold it. So buy, hold, buy, hold. That's the strategy that they try to teach me. And we kind of doing something like that, but
Everything that they said,
it will work.
it will work. It was true. It's just, they wasn't,
They want you to pay for it.
and then they wasn't, if you pay for it, they'll get in the driver's seat and they'll show you how to do it. Otherwise, they'll put you in the driver's seat and tell you, hey, go drive there, go drive there. Go drive
yeah,
there.
right,
You're gonna bump your head a few times.
yeah, wreck a few cars.
But they still put you on that path.
Right,
So they still showed you the path.
Well,
You just have to be willing to.
I feel like,
do it.
well, God put me on the path because before that commercial came on, I had read the book called Who Moved My Cheese?
Yes,
And that got my mind to even thinking, because I started picturing myself as that mouse that, was just not really giving my all in life. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, well, that ain't me. No. So I had to start training my brain how to think different. So the first investor book was Who Moved My Cheese. The second investor book was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That was the second one. And then Think and Grow Rich was the
Mhm.
third one. Richest Man in Babylon was the fourth man. I just kept reading these. Well, I don't even like reading these. These is audio books that I'm listening to.
Mhm.
Cleaning up, you start putting this stuff on. Even though, they say reading the text is better, but even if you listen to an audiobook,
Yep.
some of that stuff is going to
It's
stick in
gonna
your head.
sink
Because I
in,
still remember a lot of the audio book, so. And because one thing in the Rich Man in Babylon, one thing he said is, if you want to learn about diamonds, why would you go around someone that's, like for instance, that sell vegetables, and you want to learn about diamonds? You be around the people that's in the business doing the things that you want to do. That's how you learn.
Mhm. Mhm. I think that's brilliant. And I like that you bring up that point that it doesn't necessarily matter how you get the information, you just need to keep getting the information.
Yes.
And audiobooks and all of that stuff is great. I notice a big difference when I'm starting to feel down or business is really low. If I start putting positive things in my car when I'm driving, or things that I'm interested in, it starts happening.
It starts happening, dude.
I can't explain it, but it really does. You surround yourself with what you think it expands.
And it don't hurt to have people around you that's smarter than you. It's you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
You can learn a lot from people that don't know, that's doing the stuff that you don't know nothing about. So
That's who you want to surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with people who don't know, you're
Right.
not going to grow and your business is not going to grow. It's almost like we have to get over ourselves.
And then she wasn't asking me for questions. I'm normally quiet because I feel like you should always listen more than you talk, especially when you're trying to learn something.
Yeah.
Because you know how you have some people, they don't know nothing, but they want to be the one to talk the most. And I feel like, no, if you're trying to learn something, you need to be the one that's listening the most, not talking the most. You know who I'm talking about.
We both know who you're talking about.
There are a few out there that are like that. Yeah. That's true. And I think sometimes that's a self-confidence thing that, yeah, one side or the other.
Take over.
Oh,
So that's pretty much, I can't believe it still. Because like I said, I mean, I had kids, I was born with my left hand different. So most people don't understand the challenges of being born different. Because if you're not like, the kids from the Shriners, kids like, Shriners Hospital, you don't know what it feels like to be one of those kids. They have to be in their skin, people looking at you every day, stereotyping you, discriminating against you, you know. I had to deal with that type of stuff. And I had to deal with being black as well too, and being a man in St. Louis. And then having no parents at home to hold you, to tell you that they love you. Like when times got tough for me, I just went home and just cried myself to sleep. I ain't had nobody to tell me that, oh, tomorrow's gonna be better. I didn't want to go outside tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So that stuff make you tough. And that's the reason why my kids, like, he'll tell you, like, I was kind of tough on them because life was tough on me. So it ain't that I was doing nothing bad. I'm teaching them that life ain't gonna spare you for real.
Yeah,
So, and nobody's going to save you.
right.
Nobody's going to save you. Like, you're going to have to save yourself.
That's one of the most valuable lessons you can teach a kid,
Yeah.
I think.
The problem is these days, as you see, you got a lot of kids that's feeling entitled. They want to.
They feel entitled.
They feel entitled because your hard work, you went and you bust your butt. And they feel like they should just,
Deserve it.
Exactly.
hey, you did all the work. Nah, just give it all to me.
Mhm.
It's like, I love to share this with you, but you got to show me that you ain't gonna fumble away all my hard work. First of all, prove to me that you're gonna take this as serious as I am. Then I will give it over to you.
Yeah, right. That's true.
Give it to you right now, you'll lose it in a year.
Yeah, they don't appreciate it and it just goes away.
Yeah.
It's why most lottery winners lose their money
It's so
right
You
away.
know, they do the documentaries all the time. They be broke in like a couple years. I'll be like, you broke in a couple years.
Right.
Right.
Financial literacy, though. That was something else that, I don't know if it was an audio book or something, but that was something we learned too, financial literacy.
Yeah, you have to teach yourself that because that's not in the schools.
No, it's not. And I'm really surprised it's not. I often thought that, I teach the community college. I would love to teach at the high school. Just a little class, just
Yeah.
It's very
financial
important.
literacy.
Because they want to beat us down with going to college. Okay, not everybody is meant to go to college.
No.
No.
They're not. Not everybody's meant to go to
Well, I
college.
mean, just from, uncle, what you were saying
Yeah.
earlier before we got here, like, he's financially literate enough to know how to get into the investor world. He started off just working a regular job as a janitor and then having a girlfriend with CNA. And years later, they got properties. So,
Financial literacy is so important because, like I was telling him, my brother and his ex-wife, they both had minimum wage jobs. He was a janitor. He was CNA. They didn't make a lot of money, but they was able to take that little bit of money and start accumulating asset with that little bit of money. And I don't seen two people, I take my own case, my ex-wife, together we made over $100,000. I was working at Charter Communications at the time. I made like $65,000 a year, and she's working for the county. She made like around the same amount, but we couldn't have two pennies together because she was bad with managing money. She was bad with managing money. Used to hide clothes in the car. My God, I remember that. She used to do payday loans and her money was gone before she even got paid. So now I'm stuck how to pay all the bills.
I was like 11 years
So
old.
I'm thinking like, I'm watching like, how do two McDonald people run circles around us?
Right.
And we got the better jobs.
Yeah,
So it's about the person and their management skills. You gotta match yourself up with somebody that pretty much, can go with you. You can't just have anybody attached to you while you're doing stuff, especially with this stuff that I got going on right now. I can't just have anybody.
no, that's really important. So what qualifies a deal for you? What kind of process do you go through when you see something? I mean, obviously you've got the mind to go, that's a potential deal, but you don't take every deal, obviously.
Well, my first thing is, I got a good friend named Jill. So I would call my good friend Jill, first of all. I would say, Jill, can you check this address for me? I want you to look at these comps in this area to see what this property may go for. So I'm already getting an idea of what the property may go for. Then I still need to get eyes on the property to see what work I really need to put into the property. So, so I'm already working to see what my numbers is at that point. And that's my process. And you gotta stick with your budget too. Just because the house has a really nice deck, don't mean you should pay $10,000 more. You wanna keep your budget. Cause if you start cutting into your budget, then you're cutting into your profit. It's very important.
Don't spend money that you don't have. Your
That you don't
budget is your
have.
budget. It's not money that's coming later, because it doesn't always come.
It don't always come.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Wow.
and then, so if, get whatever formula works for you. And, for me, I came up with the math because I got tired of these contractors trying to overprice everything, One guy telling me he wanted $15,000, one say he want 10, one say he want 5. Like, why y'all prices just so freaking not close together? So what I did was I stopped accepting their bids. I started telling them what I could afford to pay. I was like, hey, this property is gonna rent for, this is my math, how I come up with my labor. I said, this property is gonna rent for $900 a month. So I take that 900 times about 12 and divide it by 2. That's my budget for this labor.
Yes, you either gonna accept or I'll find somebody else.
And it's almost dead on. If you do the math, it's almost dead on. So if you do like $900 a month, you times it by 12 and you divide that by 2. That's almost what I was paying that same amount for fixing these properties up anyways. I'm like,
Basically, so we can get our investment back within 1 year.
That's a smart formula.
So is that like if you have to fix up the property?
Yeah, fix the property up,
Okay.
exactly. You don't wanna, you're only gonna rent the property for $800-900 a month. You really don't want to put no $25,000 for that property, do you, to fix it back up? Look how long it would take for you to get that money back.
Right.
It's like, there's many handyman and contractors out there. So you just keep jumping to the next one.
And sports contractors, your new investors, yeah, stay away from the handyman. So what you want to do is, if you meet these handymans that they don't have their own vehicles, they don't have, they can't go 2 days without getting paid, you don't need them.
That's their own
Or you have to just getting anybody or
No.
true professionals, or you just getting people that's.
Well, true professionals, they have money.
Yeah, they have their money.
They have money and they don't need a payment every day, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what they do. They know how to budget their money. They're true professionals. Handymans, they kind of go, oh, my car broke down. It's gonna cost you $600 more.
Right. Or the problem is, yeah, or they think they can do everything. I'm handy, so I can do roofing and plumbing and electrical and.
And they just try to tie your project up, get most of the money, and then you wind up having to fire them and then waste money because you have to get somebody else. So I went through a bunch of handymans, spent a lot of money on handymans, and I learned how to kind of not let them totally get me like that.
That's if you hold properties. I mean, if you just wholesale it, then you ain't got that problem.
Right, because you don't have to do anything to them.
But if you holding properties, then you definitely want to create a value, I feel. You ain't gotta do the one we do. I mean, maybe your return on investment is 2 years.
So what, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So, just kind of figure out your return on investment, how much you willing to afford. And then, negotiations still open, or it can be closed negotiations. For us, for the most part, we close it, but it depends on how much more you're trying to go up.
Exactly.
So when you say wholesale, explain that, when you say wholesale.
Well, wholesale is so you got a bunch of investors who are buyers, real buyers, Some of them live in your town, some of them live out of town, but they buy in your city where you stay. And they want to take all the running around trying to find the property. They don't want to do all the running around, so they'll pay you to find it for them. Because you gotta look at it like if I can find you a house that's worth 100,000 and I can get it under contract for 60, when you pay me $10,000 to find you that house, you'll pay me $10,000 to go find you that house, will you? You got a lot of investors out here that will pay for you to do the running around for them because they making money still.
One way to find the buyers too, it's like if you do go to those real estate clubs, like my dad was saying, and they telling you what they got, they're like, oh yeah, I got property here, they got property there, they give you an address. You can look that address up on the deeds, public records, and you can see if what he said lines up with what it is. And if it is, that's a real buyer. You know, you need to find out exactly how much you know, is gonna spend where he wants to buy and put him in your back pocket.
Exactly.
Because you just need to go find a property you want. You can start making some money that way, wholesale.
And it's not hard to find wholesale properties. I mean, everybody here is involved in different groups, right? You know, whatever they are, you know, people. Basically, you just have to listen to their stories. Oh, my cousin died and, you know, that I'm not sure what we're gonna do with the house. That's a
I
wholesale.
will say this though, because when I first got into business, they do try to make you feel like getting a property in freaking Chesterfield is really easy to get under contract, and it's not. Okay, so it's not. Some properties you can get under contract really easy because, you know, maybe the little area don't too many other investors want to buy in that area. So yeah, you got a better chance of getting those under contract. But you try to start going to like Webster Grove and certain areas, it's very competitive.
Very.
Okay, very competitive because those are areas everybody wants. Everybody want Clayton, you know, Webster Grove, and they all the big investors want those areas. So a lot of times you ain't getting none under contract in those neighborhoods unless you know somebody. You gotta know somebody. Get the inside scoop like I did with her.
Exactly.
You know, or you know, you can just start getting real creative and like I did. So when I first started, I told Jill this. I'll tell my secret because it ain't no big deal. Because what's for me is for me, you know. So when I first tried to start wholesaling, I was going out and fake it till you make it. I was telling people, yeah, I want to buy your house. Well, I'm all out in these really nice neighborhoods. I'm talking about like, I'm out of St. Charles, St. Peter's, and you know, it's predominantly white out there. And I'm like, I'm out there. They see the car I'm pulling up in, you know, they see the car I'm pulling up in, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yeah, I want to buy your house. They looking at me like, we ain't got enough to buy my garage, you know what I'm saying? So what I did was, I said, man, these people are not taking me serious. So what I did was, I changed the whole script on them. I said, hey, my boss is a serious investor. My boss took me out of the driver's seat. I said, my boss, he's a serious investor. He buy a lot of houses. We was out in your neighborhood earlier, and he really likes your house. He just want to know if you're interested in selling your house. So when he heard me, then they hear you work for somebody, because you know, a lot of times you can't never be the man. You always got to work for somebody. So when I started making it look like I work for somebody, I had a whole bunch of people to talk to me when they thought I worked for the man. But they really did they know is when that contract came through, it was Caterpillar, it was me.
Yeah.
But
It's all about perception.
It's all perception. Because when you get to closing, all they care about is they got what they want.
Right.
They don't care about who the boss is at that point.
Yeah.
All they know is, hey, you said I can get this for it. I want to get it at close.
Bring it up.
So, and then a lot of them, especially the seasoned ones, they'll start asking you questions to catch you up. Oh yeah, you buy houses. When's the last ones you closed on? They'll ask you that type of stuff. Okay, what's the last property closed on? This and that, and then they say, okay, he's not real. You know what I'm saying? So,
That's another way.
But when I tell you my boss, you don't know if that's real or not, do you?
Right.
You don't know who I work for. So
You got properties that way,
yes.
out in these big areas.
Yeah.
So-called big areas.
Well, that's how I got the one in Florida in the contract. She was a white lady and she didn't seem like she was racist like that. However, it seemed like she wanted to talk to somebody that was serious, like a big company. So when I started talking to her about my boss, how he bought all these houses, and here's the thing, anybody can be your boss, okay? At this time, my boss was he was a serious investor from Israel. And I didn't know him like that, but I knew him enough to bring him to the table. So in this deal, the guy from Israel was my boss. And I connected my boss and her together and made me some money.
Yeah. So I have, you get these folks always calling me about buying your property. I'm just
Oh, yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
So is that these type of people out there now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's changed.
Type
Yeah,
people.
it's changed a lot since you
Ah.
started doing it then, because now it's like that is big business. I
Yeah,
mean, I get probably 3 or 4 calls or emails every day from investor companies saying, oh, you're a real estate agent, you can find me properties. It's like, nah.
exactly. And then, they'll see the postcard in your,
Right.
and with the picture of your house and all
Right,
that.
right.
Yeah,
Here's the thing, some of them are faking it till they make it. Some of them might be real. You don't know. You gotta kind of probe to find out how real they are. So if they get to talking about, they really want to buy your house. So I ask them questions like, okay, when is the last time y'all did closings? And how many did you buy? What areas did you buy? Get the name of their company. It's public record. You can look this stuff up.
Yeah.
And you can see, okay, so if you look and see that XYZ company closed on like 15 houses in the last 2 months, that's a legit company. That's a cash buyer. Put them in your cash buyers list and just build your cash buyers list. Now, if you truly want to make money in wholesaling, you should really look outside your backyard sometimes, because your backyard can be very competitive. So what I learned is sometimes when you go on the outskirts, you have a better chance of getting properties under contract than when you go down in South City where everybody's trying to get South City or whatever. But maybe if I go Warrenton or here, you know what I mean? The little areas I can try to get something where everybody ain't trying to fight over this. Everybody fighting over this bone. It's gonna be hard to get to it, you know what I mean?
yeah, smart.
Hmm.
Wow. You had a lot of amazing things that every time I talk to you, I learn something. Maybe everybody learns from everybody, I think. I think everybody has something to teach, and you're so creative and adventurous. It amazes me. And then as I'm sitting here thinking, oh, wow, that gives me an idea for this, and that gives me an idea for that. So we'll have to talk about that later.
Well, we talked
but-
about how to combine the insurance with what I do, because I meet a lot of seniors, and a lot of them, some of them be wanting to liquidate all their assets.
Yeah, that's what one lady wants to sell a house.
She wants to sell a house, so just keep your ears glued to the street. It's somebody, it could be a family member, of somebody that's a friend of a friend. You could be anywhere, and it's a deal waiting right there for you.
Like that.
Yeah, and when you come with the attitude of helping, it makes people want to come to you.
Because when I approached her, of course, I'm helping her with a plan.
Follow up is everything. The property in Florissant, she had told me 4 times to call her back. And guess what? I just kept putting a reminder in my calendar, pushing it back 30 days. And then I was calling her. Every time she tell me something, I would take notes of what she said. The last time she called me, she was like, well, my husband, he had just had a stroke, blah, 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 blah. So when I called her back, I didn't start talking about the house immediately. I was
Right.
like, hey, Sarah, how you doing? This is Reggie the investor. Yeah, how's your husband? I remember last time we talked, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. She remembered that. Okay, they put those things together.
Mhm.
And that last time I talked to her and asked about her husband, that's when I got the contract too.
90% of the conversation should not be about anything but them. Yeah, anything but them.
90% of everything in this business or any business, I think, is all about your work ethic. It's about your follow-up. It's about mastering procrastination, because we all want to just stay in bed or not do stuff sometimes. You know, we all do. Some week, you know, it start raining, you be like, man, I don't feel like going out there today. You know, it get a little cold, you be like, no, not today. But you gotta learn how to master procrastination. You have to.
Get somebody something that makes you accountable if you don't do it for yourself.
Earlier, real quick, earlier you mentioned you all were talking about this real estate class. One downtown that I attended and they got. I learned a lot of information. I was fine. Got me. They were just after that money.
That's all they do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Their job is just to get you motivated
Yeah.
to pay your money to them.
right,
yeah, exactly.
right.
We can bar you up. Oh my goodness, you know, but they were after that money when they were ball.
It is.
But I learned a lot, you know.
Yeah.
I used to be in a lot of network marketing also, so I know you all's conversation, what you're talking about, when you're dealing with people, you know, it pays off. So now I just need to run this thing with this, you know.
When you go to those real estate.
That took me out the real estate game when they did me like that for a while. So, you know.
But what I was about to say is when you went to that real estate group, they tell you everything to make you feel like you're in the driver's seat.
Oh, yeah, and then you was looking for certain people. We found that out also.
You know.
Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I tell, everybody, go to as many meetings as you can, but don't buy anything.
Money.
Another
buy
thing, too,
anything.
If you wanted to get into the wholesaling, I would say this, me and my son, we have adapted a concept of some of the money is okay. A lot of people just so greedy, they trying to take all the money on everything. That's why they may do one wholesale deal a year, because you're looking for the knockout punch every time you do a deal. But everybody, if you make the deal so good to where the investor can't refuse it because you took just a little bit of a cut, you still made some money.
Right.
They made some money. And guess what? When you get another contract, who's gonna buy it from you again?
Right,
They are.
right.
So some of the money is okay. You ain't gotta have all of it.
Yeah, just get some of the money.
Just get some of the money. You can keep on stacking.
You get some of the money 1,000 times.
Right. Exactly, exactly. So, thank you so much.
No problem.
I got
Just,
I got
yeah,
one more question.
Of
What
course.
You was talking about the self-direct part. IRA,
Mhm.
yep,
is that?
It's like, your 401k, right? Your 401k retirement account.
Yeah.
like a Roth IRA.
So
Any
when,
kind of
so
IRA,
when
huh?
you set up a 401k or Roth IRA, usually that's combined with blended funds, like stocks and stuff. You don't have no control of really how they really spending your money, investing your money. They doing it for you. Well, self-directed, it says it right there. It's self-directed. So you're directing your own funds to invest into what you want to invest into.
Mhm.
You can invest in self-directed gold, self-directed this. So
Self-directed.
Yeah, so
So
it's kind of like it's its own company. It becomes its own company. So your IRA now becomes a company that you can borrow money to do something with, but you have to pay it back. You can't use the money personally.
Yeah.
That's against the rules,
Can't
but
use a person.
but
Can't
the
use it
money
personally.
can grow without being taxed because it's a
until you
retirement account.
retire.
Okay.
So just like your 401k, it grows.
Yes.
You can just
Yeah.
keep flipping houses in this account and you can grow millions and millions of dollars there.
Tax-free
Tax free.
or tax deferred, depending on the IRA, because your IRA is either tax deferred or tax-free, depending on how it's set up. And that money that you keep growing, you can keep growing as much as
So-
you want. Same thing.
What I gotta do that right now because I told you I was working in a hotel. I work for Hyatt. Y'all heard of Hyatt Hotels.
Mhm.
And Hyatt is one of those prestigious companies, so they got 401k. And you put in about 3%, 4%, they'll match you. So I worked there for about 7 years and they matched me. So I built up like $15,000 in the 401k. Well, that if I decided to pull from that 401k, I get taxed on it. I only get about half, maybe not even half, maybe like 40% of it. But,
Certain age.
so $15,000, you're looking at, I'll just get 7.
But you can use the whole 15 if you keep it in a self-directed. That's what I did. So make a long story short, it was 2-family flat on Page. It was $15,000. And I had about $15,000. In order for me to use the whole $15,000, I had to move it to a self-directed RA. Because if I would have just tried to take the 15 out of the regular 401k Roth RA, they would have taxed me like half or more than half that money. But because I've moved it from one, retirement account to another
You
retirement
didn't take it
account,
out.
I didn't
You
take it
rolled
out. I
over.
rolled it over. I was able to use the whole $15,000 to buy the property.
And then it goes back into it and you
And
just.
all the
keep building
rents
it.
that from the property goes right back into your self-directed RA. And what's nice about it is you can pull money without being taxed for repairs and stuff like that. So if you need to fix the house up or something happened, you got a water pipe that busts or whatever, you can submit a claim to get that money to fix that problem without being taxed.
So,
So I do have little loopholes inside of it where you can still get some money to do things, to pay contractors, fix stuff like that.
right, so this here is separate. Let me understand this fully, separate from like a swab, say.
Yeah,
You're in the swamp, this IRA is separate from the way they deal with the money.
Yeah.
versus-
yeah.
It's-
So you have to go to a special company that deals with self-directed IRAs.
Okay.
So Charles Schwab and the big guys that do
Right.
IRAs,
Right,
they don't they don't usually do self-directed IRAs. But you can roll the money from there as long as it's not an employee contribution,
Right.
like a
I went through.
401k,
Equity
you
Trust.
can't.
I went to a company called Equity Trust. They were pretty good. However, I did just learn that Navy Federal has a self-directed RA. When
Really?
you deal with Navy Federal, that's
That's-
great. Yeah, that's a great institution to go through because, I like Navy Federal, so.
That's actually where I'm about to move mine, because I still have my 401k.
I didn't know that. I learned something new.
Yeah, they have one.
Wow. Okay, so I'm gonna say thank you again. And we can keep with this discussion, but we're almost out of time and I want to get to talk to everybody else too about, we have an investment group. So explain what it is to you. So I get to explain it to everybody else too. So this group that we're doing right now, that we're doing this video for, is a spinoff from when I'm still teaching the classes at the community college, because the class at the community college is basically a seminar. It's just a 2-hour class. You can't learn enough to become an investor for that. So I started the investment club so that every month we could have these meetings and it can continue to be education and bring in people to talk to that really do these things, or, self-directed. We've had self-directed IRA people come in and talk about that. We've had all different kinds of people. And all through this process, people show up to meetings and things, but they don't necessarily act as investors. They don't act. And it's like, okay, what am I missing? What am I doing wrong? And I realized that the two biggest hurdles are, it's a lot of money to flip or to do anything else. It's a lot of money. And people don't want to do it alone, especially the first time, or they like the support. So what we've done is we've made group investments. And so the last one we did, I had a short sale that came to me from a referral. And so I bought that property with hard money loan, and I bought that property, and then we pooled a group of investors together that raised the money to rehab it. So the property I got for 166, we put 82 into it. We raised 65, and then we raised more. And put 85 into it and sold it for 330.
Wow.
Nice.
And so all of the investors get 10% return on their money. And then every Friday we send out a newsletter about what happened last week, what happens next week, what were the hurdles that we came in, totally transparent about, we lost money here, so that means our budget has to change.
That almost seemed like a hedge fund or something. What do you call it, with people normally you see them do it with hotels and malls and stuff.
Right,
Where they
right.
investors come together.
Yeah, they do, but this comes with the education of how does it work?
Right.
Because eventually I'd like people, if they want to do this on their own. But to start out, I'm happy to do this because I feel like you never learn something better than when you teach it, right? And it's a way of helping and learning myself. So I learn a lot through all of these projects. So we finished that one, and so now we're getting ready to move on to another project. And so my husband and I are downsizing. We helped our daughter buy a property in Colorado, and we purchased our house that we're going to move into and are rehabbing it. So I'm on 3 mortgages right now, so I can't buy. I guess I could. I can't buy. I shouldn't say that I can't do it because I'm sitting right here in front of you, and I said that. I can't believe I said that. Okay. So what I said to the investors were, let's see what we can pool, make a commitment, give you the month of March. Let's make a commitment. How much can we get? And then we'll see what we can move forward with. Well, we didn't raise as much as we did last time, but then I got the big chunk of it from a hard money. We raised $265,000 for the whole project. But that was getting 180 in one chunk. This time I didn't have an investor or didn't have the opportunity or haven't found yet the opportunity for that big amount. So right now we have 65, and that is still enough to do something. But one of the things is I have to be really, really careful that that profit margin is pretty good size.
Right.
Because I'm guaranteeing that the investors are going to get 10% return. And teachers don't stiff their students. So we're looking at that. And I did look at a property. One of the areas that I'm going to shrink this down a little bit. One of the areas that I'm really starting to like is Afton and Bayless.
Yeah, I've been like,
Yeah.
I stayed over at Bates and Lockboro. That area's been nice for a minute.
Yeah, and it's getting better. It's becoming more of a hub. So I found this house on Hanover. Let me pull it up here just to kind of look at it. And what I do, like you do the numbers, I do a pro forma. And this is what a pro forma looks like. It's basic Excel spreadsheet. But I've set it up so all I had to do is plop the numbers in. So 4717 Hanover, it's 975 square feet, 2-bedroom, 1 bath. They're asking 73.2. I automatically put a 10% discount. So if I got it for 65.8 and finance the whole thing, 1%, I put my closing costs in there. I put the property taxes in there, 10% return. So 10% interest on the return.
I like your fix and flip formula.
You want it? You can have it. I'll send it to you.
Please.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You just plug and play. The green ones, that's what you fill in, and the rest of it auto populates. And so my all-in purchase costs are going to be $2,082 because that's my closing costs and things that I had to pay up front, getting the utilities on. My inspections are in there. Looking at the property, let me go back and show you what the property is. So, yep, got the inspections all in there. Absolutely. Yep, monthly payment that I had to pay back my investors, and I'm going to hold it for 3 months. So this is my 3 months projected costs. So utilities, taxes, insurance, repair. I use a formula for cost of repair about $40 per square foot, just as a general rule of thumb. And that pretty much takes care of a medium rehab, not a whole gut rehab, but a medium rehab. $40 per square foot works out pretty well. So with this,
What is so for a house that's like 974 square feet?
that's 39,000 right there. It figures it out right there. It calculates it. It automatically takes 40 times whatever number you put. I hate this thing without a mouse.
Yeah, that's really good. I think that's
Yeah.
It'll make your life a little easier. I like what you got. See, 975 square feet. So it automatically calculates what your price, what your rehab costs will be, 39,000. And then over 3 months, it adds an extra 20% because you know as well as I do, when you're doing a project, you open up the wall and realize they used extension cords instead of wiring. You're gonna have some extra.
that's cool.
So I build that in. So my purchase price comes down, my whole all-in holding costs come down. My estimated payoff for the mortgage, which is what I borrowed, the cost of sale, I automatically put that in. On our projects, I only put the buyer side because I'm the listing agent, so I don't pay myself for that.
Yeah.
But I automatically figure that in. So if I were doing this for any other investor, I would put that at 6%, automatically figure that in your costs, automatically. Get it in your budget. And then all in costs are 122 because I'm going over to the other side. My after repair value estimate is about 145. So this gives me a projected profit of 22,900.
That's really good.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice that you're showing your investors and people that want to get into the game how you're doing it.
Yeah,
While at the same time, they can also make some money because they invested to help.
exactly, because I want people to feel a real investor. So the minimum investment is $5,000 to be part of the group. It's 5,000 because that's a good amount of money that you feel it, you're into it. And they can't have that money back until the project is done, because otherwise that would destroy the project. But, you know, we're in it for 3 months and that's it. So here's the property. Oh, come on. Here's the property.
Smaller house.
Small little house, and it actually has a full basement. It doesn't show the basement. But you know, you look around and like, this
But I
is
do see a
mold.
zip code, that's 63123 though.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's after, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's pretty good. There's a lot of little properties like that.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. And so, you know, you look at this, you look at the pictures, and when I find a property, first thing I do is the pro forma. If the numbers don't work, why bother to go look at it? Right? So if the numbers work,
So are you trying to get the fix up the property now?
yep, we're gonna fix and flip it.
Oh, okay, I got you.
We're gonna fix and flip it. Well, may not, but this is an example of, and this one's 73 too, so 65, we're gonna have to come up with a little bit more just to get that, and then the 32. But this is what you could do with a small amount of money in a good area.
Alright.
Got it.
That's a-
There's so
And-
many ways. to get
How
into
many,
it.
so how many bedrooms that?
It has 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, so it's small. And so let me go back to the pro forma,
No.
and then,
That whole house would be good.
yeah, exactly. And when you look at the comps, this is one right around the corner, also 2 bedroom, 1 bath, a little bit smaller than ours, 90,000,
Shame.
not much. That's all the pictures it has, just those 3. It's as is too.
As is at 90,000?
Uh-huh,
Oh, wow. That
uh-huh,
means then he works on the inside.
uh-huh, exactly. And so this one looks even better now that I'm looking at 73, and this one's the same size, and it's just around the corner. This one, 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 925 square feet, smaller than ours, sold for 159.
See people making money all the time with like what you're doing. It's just that for me, I'd be kind of nervous when I go up that high with some of the properties because I don't want to get kind of stuck with it. Because you start thinking, okay, I should be able to get this amount out of it.
You're exactly right. And so honestly, when I look at this pro forma, and I see it's only 20,000, if I were doing this property myself, I
Mhm.
might be willing to risk 20,000 profit and walk away with 10. I'd be okay with that.
Right.
10,000 goes away really quickly when you lose a roof, like we did on the last property in U City, we got that 500-year rain. It took our roof. That was 81,000 or $8,100 that we didn't expect to spend. But we were fortunate that the market kept going up.
Right.
So it saved our bum. It's something you have to watch all the time. You have to watch your budget. You have to watch your contractors, and you have to watch the market. And if the market starts turning, because it will turn one way or the other. If it starts turning, you got to figure out, get out. And that's why I limit the projects to 2 to 3 months, because we got to get in and get out. So,
It's not bad.
yeah, it's not bad, but that 22,000 is not enough for me to say yes to this project.
No,
Not with the
especially when you gotta- We pay the group out there.
Exactly. Exactly.
How many people in the group?
Just depends. It just depends. Like last one, we had 7 investors that made up the 265. This time, I think we have 9 and we're at 65. So because it's a minimum 5,000
Right.
and that's fine.
Yeah, so basically, with the properties that you do find, if you got a bunch of investors that's contributing that 5,000, and let's say, I don't know how many, maybe 15, you might be able to find a decent property. And if you do need that hard money lender, he's only about this much money, so the interest is probably way low. And you guys do fix and flip within the next 3 months, everyone be getting a return on their investment. Plus you get come with the property, with the profit as well. So
Exactly.
that's not bad. And then it's teaching them how to get some skin in the game and it's helping them learn. That's pretty good.
Yeah, thank you.
10%.
10% return, yeah, and it's 10% per annum, so it's 10% divided by 12 times the number of months that we use their money. So it's not a great deal of money,
Mhm.
but where else do you get paid to go to school? You know, and every Friday we have the updates, and then every Wednesday we have a Zoom meeting that anybody can join that's in the investment group. And we talk about, okay, we lost a roof. Now what do we, or the painter wasn't good on their bid. They charged us, $10,000 when they said it was going to be 8, it's real life. That's what happens.
That's pretty good. I would just let the investors know, you gotta be very serious. Because you don't want to just jump into that and just not try to focus like, oh, I'm just gonna put some money here and just make money. Yeah.
But that's okay too, because I do have some investors that do that. They don't want to be involved. They just want to make their 10%, because where else are you going to make 10% on your money right now? And that's okay too with me, because it gives everybody else an opportunity to then do that. And then other people want to be even more involved. And so like last time, one of our investors did all the accounting for me. She was fantastic. I mean, she itemized everything. I mean, to the T. So and that's the other thing we do too. This would become then a tab of this per room. This is what we're doing. Every single thing, from the paint, to the ceiling, to the lights, to the everything. And then a tag of what it is and where I got it. And I do estimated price and then actual price, because we need to see that even though you estimate this is what it's going to be, sometimes you get a windfall and you're great. Like today, I thought I got a roofer up on my house in Brentwood, and I expected it was going to be, because it turned out pretty good. And they're like, oh, they're nail pops, but some of this is cracked. You got to get a roofer up there. And I'm like, okay, $1,800. That's what I'm figuring. Just in my head, I'm thinking $1,800. They're going to go up there and they're going to need to replace shingles. And I know this part's leaking. $200. He said, no, it's fine. I can pound down these and I can fill this in with silicone and you're fine. And $200. I'm like, wow. But it doesn't always happen that way.
Trust me. We just had a collapsed pipe yesterday. It doesn't always happen like this.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't that hurt your feelings?
Real bad. I was trying to, what my $200?
Yeah, I know. I'll give it to you. I'll share vendors. But yeah, that's what I do. So, all right, I'm gonna wrap this all up. Thank you guys so much for.
It'd be we trying to finish up some important things, but we're gonna really start working on this little package next week.
Yeah, let me know, because I'll send that out to the investors and see if anybody is game for a package deal right now, because you never know.
Deal.
On the package deal or on this? Well, right now, I think the consensus is gonna be well, let's wait and find a little bit more money. So we don't have a deadline on it yet. And I'm just gonna keep going until we find what's good. And we'll go from there. But yeah, if you wanted, everyone is welcome. Everyone is welcome.
Right, well, me and Dante, we want to see what the market looks like. We're not desperate though, where, you come in, think you're gonna lowball me and I'm gonna get rid of my stuff. I'm not doing that. I'm not desperate, you know what I'm saying? So I just want to know, like, if I, if I hear a good price, I might go for it. If I don't, I'll just sit on it. It ain't hurt me as long as it's cash flowing every month.
Exactly. And that's the best position to be in, not desperate.
Yeah,
Don't buy or sell with emotions.
no.
True. All right, well, I'm gonna shut this down for tonight and let everybody go. Thank you all for attending. Thank you.
Information.